Alright, so I'm thinking about doing something different for stuff today. I need to take a break. So, I don't know, man. Just going through a lot of stuff, but, I thought I would never really visit this again, but I've really been wanting to get back into it. It's really been kind of, you know, been having that thing in me to want to do it again, man. You know, and everything and stuff, and get back into it. What is it? What am I trying to say? I feel like it's kind of been like there's something inside of me that has been like kind of like kind of been drawing me back toward doing that stuff. You know, kind of like doing that. What am I trying to say? Kind of like wanting to get back into doing that type of content again, or that type of stuff, like something kind of like it's making me want to become creative again, or to do certain things. You know, I don't know. You guys aren't familiar with stuff. I feel bad about it because I'm trying to get away from stuff, you know, with the world, you know, and everything, but I've been really wanting to get back into doing baseball content, baseball stuff, and I don't know, man. I got up and I was looking at my videos, and I was looking at MLB The Show, and I've been watching a lot of MLB The Show stuff lately. I kind of wanted to get back into doing it again, man. You know, I had originally planned to do some of that stuff. I had originally planned to do that content again, or do that content originally, before I had my other channel taken down. I don't know, man. I feel like something's drawing me back to those competitive days, those perspectives, I guess you could say. I don't know if you guys knew or are familiar with, if you were familiar with stuff, but I'm gonna take a break. I am, but I used to be really good at the show, and I used to play it for a long time, and I don't know, man. That's something wants me to. Something's like kind of getting me wanted to do content, like do it again, or like to do stuff on it. So I like wanted to see if I still had what it took to do it. You know, I was looking at it, and I was like, bro, I miss those old days, man. I really do. You know, and stuff and everything. Something's been kind of lighting something inside of me to do stuff again. You know, I just haven't enjoyed stuff lately, man. You know, and I'm kind of trying to find something else, trying to find something new to like a spark, you know, and stuff. So, you know, I think I might have found my passion again, or found what I might want to do. I don't know. You know, I was a big MLB The Show fan for years, and I did a lot of stuff on it. I mean, I did it until I had my old channel taken down. I did it back in. I did content for weeks back in March when 25 came out. You know, I just was like, I don't know. It's just. I feel guilty about getting back into that world because I'm afraid I'm going to get addicted. Because I would play the show a lot before things changed. All I did was play it when it came out back out in March. When it came out in March of this year. And then I got out of it, and I was really good, man. I was really good. I'm thinking about making content on it again. You know, I was really good at it. I probably will never be able to get back to what I once was, but I was really good at it, man. I accomplished a lot of things in that game, and I really, literally achieved, well, I got all the accolades and achievements and records. I even won the Yankees their first World Series since 2009, but I don't know, man. I've been really wanting to do that again. But but there's more important things going on. It's like I feel guilty, kind of feeling like a guilty conscience drawing me between that. But it's like, yeah, I used to be a pretty good show player, man. You know, and stuff. Especially in Road to the Show. I was really good at Road to the Show. He used to be one of the best players on the team. But, you know, but it was like, I don't know, man. I just had that drawing, I had that thing drawing me toward it, but I'm like, then I feel guilty because, you know, I'm going to be kind of, I don't know. I haven't been very in a good state lately. So I've been trying to find something kind of I've been trying to find something to kind of keep me going because I've been going through a lot of stuff. But I've been trying to find something that like gives me, I guess, I don't know, makes me kind of, I guess you could say, makes me happy, you know, or that I like. And it's not really about what I like, though, really, because I'm trying to, like, help people, but, you know, I'm beginning to wonder maybe if this isn't for me, you know, and everything, right? You know, and stuff, because it's complicated, but it's like I've just been kind of depressed and upset lately. I've lost my ability to want to do stuff now, you know, and I'm like, I don't know, man, I don't even enjoy life anymore. Things in life don't even interest me. The things I used to like to do, I don't do anymore. So it's like, I gotta find that thing in me that will get me going again, you know? And I feel like lately God's been leading me toward, you know, being a creator. Making, focusing, going to do other things, you know, and everything, right? You know, it's tough. Explore your options. You know, explore and look for other options, other things you might want to consider doing, you know, and everything, right? You know, and stuff, and you know, like, I guess you could say, other avenues. You know, other avenues to create, other places to explore, other options to consider going after, looking at other things to maybe give you an outlook on life or into the future, you know. go try other things, and everything, right? And stuff. So, and I had a passion for the show, man, but I kind of got out of it, and it's coming back again. The thing that I really like that game, but I felt like I had achieved most stuff in that game after I played it that I got out of it. It's like it's like if I'm not into something, then I don't really want to do it. If I'm not really in it, I don't really want to do it. And if I don't really have if I'm not really trying to, I guess you could say, if I'm not trying to achieve something or push towards something, I don't really want to do it. In a particular, But what I'm trying to say is I don't but I just, I guess you could say it's if I don't have something I'm trying to do or achieve, then I don't know. And as after when I was done playing the show, or after I got done with the series, I was just like, bro, kind of got tired of it. It got old. I moved on to other things. I ended up achieving all that. Then I don't know. So I'm gonna see if I still have what it takes to play it. And if I don't, I'm probably just gonna go back to doing my regular content, probably. But I am probably not gonna be very good. But I don't know, man. I lack the passion, and I lack the drive anymore for the show like I used to. Because I've changed a lot as a person, and those things, those desires and those things don't suit me like they used to anymore. I don't really care to push toward that level anymore. Those things just don't really interest me. Those things don't, it's not as much to me anymore now that I found something else. But, it's just, I don't know, I kind of had that passion still in me to want to do it, but I kind of feel like it kind of was changed to move on to something else in my life. But I don't know, I still have that in me to want to do Yankee games and gaming stuff again. Make a channel on that. And something like that, I guess, that kind of passion, and streaming. I would like to do streaming, but I'm not sure. Because I kind of feel like if I go back to it, it just won't be there. I won't feel the same way I did, than I did back months ago. So, and I won't have that same thing to me. But I don't know, yeah, I was looking at stuff and I was looking at the show and I thought about doing it again, but I thought about playing it again, you know, but I don't know, man. I'm gonna do what God wants me to do. I'm not gonna do what I want to do, you know. I'm gonna do what He's leading me to do, okay? But yeah, I really want to do the show, but this is not a baseball. This is not a gaming channel. This is not a channel. This is not a channel for entertainment like it was in the past. It's a channel of me trying to tell people what's happening with stuff and help them for what comes, you know, and everything. But yeah, I have a passion. I might create another channel dedicated to gaming and baseball along with this one, maybe. I'm thinking about it. But I wanna start doing that again. Something's like wanting me to do it again. I wanna start making that type of stuff again. I really do. But where the camera thing. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I want to do that, but I don't know. I just wouldn't have the same passion, I guess, because all those things, a lot of that stuff I moved on from, and I don't do it like I did. But it's like, I don't know. I don't have the same things like I did in the past. So if I tried to bring back or I guess you could say, if I tried to what's the word? If I tried to re-establish doing the show again, I just don't think I would really have the same thing I would for it anymore. You know, and stuff. That's kind of been changed. But because I was into that for 3 years, and then I started playing it again in March. But I was like, that was before I moved on to this channel, but I have thought about wanting to get back into that idea again, because I used to be good at the game, but I don't. It's not. Yeah, man. I've been fighting against fighting. It's sort of like, it's my new self against my old self, kind of, and it's a struggle. It really is, you know. Since I've been changed and I kind of been saved, I've been born again as a person. I've been fighting my old self, you know, always kind of warring against our old nature when you go in the past, and everything, right? But yeah, in a sense, it doesn't go away. It often tends to rear its ugly head. Uh, the devil loves to bring. The devil loves to bring. The devil loves to um, bring your past back. He loves to um, dangle your past in front of your face to get you to bite again. In other words, to get you to submit to him, that you can get what you want. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not, because see, old me was all about myself, chasing numbers, chasing subscribers, chasing viewers, like getting the attention, like getting the audience, like streaming, like getting the applause, and like feeling special and wanted, and I guess you could say, in a sense, loved being kind of that top person or that star. That's why for years I loved playing the show, because I did it, and that was especially big for 3 years. I didn't get a lot of that stuff at the time, so it was hard for me, and I was going through a hard time in my life. So I enjoy getting the attention and the stuff from people, and the way it was, and so I always like Road to the Show, because it always made me feel special, like being a star of the team, like being the best player, and stuff. And I always liked the concept of the I always liked the stuff from the like crowd in the game, and I like to be the star player. I like to come up and get the big hits. I like to be put in the positions to win the games. I like to just be in those scenarios. I like the competitiveness. The pressure, the situations, like the challenges and all that, the hardest situations, I guess you could say. I liked being put in those scenarios, because it made me feel like the hero, and I really enjoyed it, and I just love getting that attention from the crowd, and I like being that type of player, or that type of individual for years, and I love having, I guess you could say, I love having the audience and the viewers and the subscribers. But then things changed for me after 3 years, and I thought I had a different way of thinking about things, and reality hit, and stuff. And then I had that thing where I kind of changed the way the content was, but then it was too late because the channel got taken down. And so it's like, I did like, how can I explain? Old me loved attention, loved subscribers, like just loved the audience, loved interacting with the fans, talking to people, and liked getting the attention and liked, just being in that type of environment for 3 years. And then it's like, oh, you had a reality check, and and then, like at one point, I actually left YouTube and I came back, but I took time off of it, and it was like, I'm not going to come back. I think it was about 2 years ago, and stuff, and things like that. And something happened to me that changed the way I was, because I was, not good. And then I had a situation where things were not good for me, and I was in a bad place. Like, and I was sad and depressed, and I was going through a lot, and stuff changed me, and everything. Things changed me, and I stopped doing a lot of stuff I did those 3 years. I stopped being the way I was. I became a more happier, chill person, and also I wasn't as selfish. I wasn't as selfish. I wanted to help other people. When I had this thing in my life. I had this I had this how do I explain it? I had this transformation as a person where I believe I found God, and it made me different, and I left all that behind. I turned from a lot of stuff I did. I didn't watch what I used to, and I left a lot of stuff behind after I had this encounter. And I even stopped watching certain channels, and I wasn't as negative or as toxic or as the way I was. Or I didn't do what I nearly did in the past, and and I became different, and I wasn't about craving things for myself anymore. It was more about other people, and I wasn't the type of person who was to himself or stayed by himself or was kind of lived in that state of isolation or alone where he was constantly by himself for those 3 years, just streaming all the time. I would constantly stream every night, and everything, because I didn't have anybody else, one, and two, I don't know, I really enjoyed getting that, and so that was the way I dealt with things in my life at that time. But it was just, it got to a point where I was like alone by myself, because including my best friend. He went through a divorce. He's gone through a lot of stuff in his life since we've been hanging out recently, the last couple of years. I don't know what that's about, but I was more about myself during those 3 years. I'm not really nearly like that as I was, but it's very frustrating and hard to deal with stuff sometimes now. Especially telling certain people in my life what's going on. So, and everything. But I was like, okay, I went through a lot. And yeah, I say I was pretty selfish at the time. I lacked anything for other people. I kind of changed who I was. and I was not the same person I was for 3 years. And I had to go through a change in my life to like bring me back to. But yeah, I was streaming, I was doing content, I was doing MLB The Show stuff. I had a pretty nice audience, people would watch me. I was really good at the game for years. I thought I was literally one of the best for a long time, and people looked at me like I was considered actually. They literally thought I was, in a sense, they literally thought I was really good at what I did. I'm not gonna say they thought I was God, because that's blasphemy. I'm not gonna do that, and everything. I'm not God, but they literally thought, okay, you could say they thought I was the God of the show, kind of, okay, to a degree. Not God in general, but I was a really good player at MLB for a long time, like one of the best at the game. I played it for so long, I became so good at it that I achieved practically everything you can think of in that game, including in Road to the Show. I have all the releases. I have all the show games. But yeah, I became big-headed. I lost who I was, and I was in a really dark place. And it took a toll on me, and it was not easy. Not to mention I kind of was alone by myself, but I had to go through a change, and I was riding high, and at that time I was really liking the top spot. I really was. At that time I was really liking the top spot. Even in a show. And I love getting I love being that star. I did for a long time, to a degree. But it was like, okay, and because I felt like a lot of people don't give me my props. Don't give me my props. I don't think I'll get my props till I leave this earth. I really don't, But like, I feel a lot of people don't give me my props. I'll never get my props, and I feel like when I finally got to where I was, God started giving me my props, because, I believe that I might have gotten to where I was because of Him, but stuff changed, and He probably redirected where I should go. But He probably redirected, my path in my life after those years, because I tried to do what I did before, and that didn't work. So, but yeah, I wasn't really getting that stuff for a lot of years, and then after a while, I started to enjoy that. I mean, I started to really like that. After a while, I started to really like that phase, or I started to really like that time in my life, which was, it was really good for me, and then it got bad. It was really good for me at first, but then it got to be really bad. And, it's like, I was really liking that, because I finally was getting what I deserve, and the respect, and people were appreciating me, they were watching me, they liked my stuff. I was feeling like what I was doing was worth it, and I finally felt like what I did paid off, and I just, after all that, after putting so much stuff into my channel for 3 years. It's just like I was like working on this thing for 3 years, and I just, I don't know. I felt like I didn't really get the credit, and then things started falling into place in my life, and then after that stuff fell apart, and it's like, okay, and I wasn't doing good. My friend was going through a divorce. I was in a bad place in my life. I was really depressed. Then my dad passed, and it was like, oh, okay, and stuff like this. But yeah, I mean, I was depressed that my father was dying, yes, but YouTube was like a really good way to help me get away from it all, and I was kind of enjoying being in that world because it was just, it helped me get away from the reality of my dad passing, and or my dad, what was going on with my father. Plus, it was kind of hard for me to deal with. I didn't know how to deal with it, so it was like, I guess I really like being in the YouTube world because, or the YouTube perspective of a streamer, because it helped me not have to deal with the reality I was living, because I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So I wanted to create my own reality, or my own future. That didn't work out very well though. But it was like, okay, but it was like, yeah, like in the past, I would stay up streaming for hours, and then, and I would stay up streaming for hours at night, and then I'd go to sleep, and I wouldn't wake up till the afternoon, and then I would wake up and I would do show streams. I would spend countless hours streaming. I don't know, I put so much time into my channel, where I would do several streams. I would do like a regular stream, I would do the show stream, and then, I don't know, I didn't know how to deal with things at that time, so I would really put a lot into what I had with my channel. I didn't have anything else in my life at that time. Like I said, this is before I believe I had an encounter with God, and it changed the way I looked at things in my life. So, but, I felt empty, and so I was trying to build the thing I wanted the most, and that was to make myself a big creator. And so I used whatever skills I had, and whatever talents I had to build my channel, including the show, because I was a pretty good show player. But then when I started doing stuff on it, I started doing streams, I started doing content on it a lot, people started to take notice, and they really like watching me. They started to watch my streams, they started to watch me play Road to the Show a lot, and they liked how good I was. But, it's like, okay. And it was, and they literally thought I was really good. They did. For 3 years. And then I just stopped doing whatever I did for months. I think it was after my dad passed, really made me rethink things. And I took time off, and I think I came back after going on vacation in November, I believe. And then I rethought about things, and I decided to change the way I did my content, and it sort of ended up like where I had a change as a person and stuff. By the time I had a change when I had the thing I had I had a change in my life after that, when I believed I had this thing I saw in January. So I believe that I was being led to something much bigger in January that I saw. So I kind of moved away from that. And then I started getting into reading these books and all these things to understand. But I was still into gaming. I was still doing gaming on my channel while trying to understand this path that I believe I was being led to, or that I was being shown, while I was being led to understand these events that are coming that I saw or had an idea that were happening. And because I believe, like, I actually got my original channel taken down. So I believe I was being led toward a different path in my life. To be honest, that's why I decided to restart over. And I think at that time, before I got it taken down, I was doing Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I believe I was still doing show stuff, because around March, when I believe the show 25 came out, I was playing it like crazy, because I was still into the series. And I've always liked baseball. The baseball season was coming up, and opening day was coming up, and I was still doing stuff on the games, and that's when I got my channel taken down, because they wouldn't allow me to do third-party content. And I was and because I kind of got out of playing the show that much, after a couple of years, 'cause I took time off after my dad passed. People kind of stopped watching, but I've still always been a fan of the show. I've still always liked playing the show. It's always been one of my favorite games, and I still have a passion for it. But people kind of stopped watching, because I kind of stopped live streaming as much as I was after that, and really moved into mainly doing videos. But then I just kind of stopped altogether playing the show, I think maybe around like April, because I had my channel taken down. I had my original channel taken down, and I didn't see a point to want to do it anymore, or to do that same thing again. So I decided to change my format with this channel to something else, and that was when I started going down the studying of eschatology and trying to understand the events that are going on and stuff. I moved into an individual that wanted to kind of understand more about the world and events going on with things. after reading and studying, after reading and trying to understand by studying these books, including on the Middle East. I became a person that was interested in doing stuff on the Middle East. And because I was reading a book about how Middle East goes alongside prophecy, and for some reason I got really interested in covering stuff on the Middle East and Israel. I got really interested in the news. I got really interested in covering stuff on the Middle East, covering stuff on Israel and Hamas, Iran, stuff like that, right? So I got really interested in covering politics and I guess, conflicts going on with the Middle East around March. I went from doing gaming and baseball to world stuff and worldly events and Middle East and stuff about the news with the war, including with Israel. So I got really interested in the deeper. I got really interested in more into the. I guess you could say I got more interested in the what is it? What am I trying to say? I got more interested into the into the deeper meaning behind what's going on in the Middle East, and I wanted to know. And then I started studying the prophetic and how it went alongside spirituality and biblical ideas, and started studying the Bible and a lot of other stuff and the different versions. King James, the New King James, the International Version, and a lot of others. And I started studying the prophetic and the biblical idea of the biblical stuff behind the events that are going on with the world to understand how it relates. And then I got into eschatology, which is the study of the end times, and that's how I found out about the rapture, because all these things help me understand about the rapture and how they all line up with the possible rapture. And you can't really understand that unless I believe God leads you to it, and He did it to me, because once I had this, I don't know, it's like He kind of shook up, it's like things kind of shook up in my life. And at first I was really, really upset about it. And yeah, that was the point in my life where I broke down and almost quit. It did. I believe after years of hard work, this happened on my birthday. And it pretty much just broke me as a person. I almost quit, and everything. Because I had put in so much hard work. I had put so much time into that channel. And it was literally like something I had really worked hard to build. That when I lost it, it really, really did a lot to me. But something changed in me after that happened. And I'm like, I need to do something different with my life. I need to try something else. And I decided to do what I do now, or try to do. And I believe I was led to understanding, but when you look at it, it's really kind of like when you look at it, it's really kind of like I had a weird thing happen with my channel, okay? In the past, it would let me upload video recaps and content of the show, or content of the games, including the Yankee games. But this this time it didn't, and I lost it. But I was doing that for a while back in 2023 and beyond, those last 2 years. And it just didn't work out. I believe the final video I uploaded before I got struck down was, I was recording a video where I was talking about Tampa playing the Yankees and the Torpedo Bats, and then it took it down. I was talking about how the hurricane destroyed Tropicana Field and they were gonna rebuild it in 2026, and they took it down. So, I don't know what happened. It got removed for copyright, for third-party content. And I was doing something. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what got it taken down, but that was part of it. But I believe I still have my channel from January all the way to March, the main one, and then it got taken down. I got it removed off of YouTube. And I was playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I was playing I think Last of Us Part 2 Remaster and some other stuff with my new computer that I had gotten. And at that time, after I got this computer, it got taken down, and I had to start over. And I was like, I'm not going back to doing gaming and Yankee stuff anymore. I'm not even going to stream anymore, because I tried to stream and they wouldn't want me to do it. So I was like, I'm not going to stream anymore. And then videos. And I think they hit me with a 1 week. I think they hit me with a 1 week ban and then a 2 week ban, and then it got taken down. So I don't know what happened. But I was really depressed. That pretty much did it in for me. I was upset around that time for something. I can't remember. My friend Trav had something going on with him again. He's been having a lot of stuff going on with him lately. I don't really know. And he when my friend Trav left my life again, I did not understand because he kept disappearing for months. Now it's like I didn't understand. I wanted to try to find answers. So I started trying to I had this encounter with God where I was looking to try to understand what was going on with the world, right? And I believe he led me to something else, but it was this weird thing where I felt lost. I didn't know where to go with my life. And so I started kind of after I believe that time, and I started reading all these books. I started reading all these things, and that led me to want to get into the prophetic and talking about in biblical. But yeah, I was in a really bad place in my life, in March of this year when he left, and it was, and then I was just kind of upset. And when I lost my channel that I had built for 3 years, that was really what almost made me quit, because I was really upset, very, very upset. And I guess, it was either I didn't do something right with the guidelines or something, or maybe God didn't want me going down that path. I don't know, and stuff. Because I always like to do the Yankee recap stuff, and and gaming was working out well for me, because I was able to get out Assassin's Creed and Last of Us, and I think I was doing the show for a while back in March, but I don't know, man, some of it just changed. I can't really explain it, and I had a weird life-changing thing happen to me again. I've had several life-changing things that have happened to me in my life that have made me that have made me literally come to God, man. Made me literally drop to my knees in desperation, not knowing what to do. And that's part of it. So, and I don't know, God's humbled me in a lot of ways. So I don't know, man. I feel like I have to suffer more than other people, but through that suffering, it makes you stronger. And without suffering, you don't have a testimony, bro. Without suffering, you don't have a voice. Without going through struggle, you can't do stuff for other people, man. You can't. And it's hard to explain, really, when you look at it. But yeah, I had another life-changing event happen to me. I had to rethink about where I was going to go with my life and what I was going to do after those 3 years of building that channel. And I didn't have anything else at that time I could do. So, hey, sweet. So, really had to think about it, man. I had to come to God, and I had to, get Him to lead me where He wanted me to go. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do after that. I had to come to God and had to ask Him to lead me where He wanted me to go. And one night I just asked God to lead me to where He wanted me to go. And I believe He led me to teach people about what I do now and the prophetic and biblical stuff. There are days that I believe I could be a prophet with the things I know, or that I have been led to and shown. There are days I believe I can be a prophet with the things I see. But I don't know. When you get saved, everybody's got their own. When you get saved, everybody has their own special gift. And each person has their own way of telling people the stuff they do, man. And the Yankees lost to the Blue Jays. Of course they did. Oh boy. Well, I didn't watch that game. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's a weird occurrence. I'm thinking about I don't know. So I was thinking about doing some show stuff, but I'm probably not going to upload this. I'm probably just going to vent and then do what I'm going to do later. But, it's just like, I don't know, man. I do believe that God changed my path. I don't really know why that was, man. I probably could have stuck to continuing to do gaming content, and I could have continued to gain more subscribers, but looking back on it, that might not have been a good thing. And and the Yankee recaps, because I barely can even watch them anymore. So, but I don't know, man. I don't know why things happen the way they do. They just do. And yeah, I just had to start over. Had to redo something else had to rethink about what I was going to do with my life after that. And I was like, alright, you've put me through so many things, I give up, I'm just like, I give up, I'm ready to do what you want me to do, and everything, because I was pretty much desperate, and I was just ready to quit and wanted to give up. That I found my, I guess you could say, I found my, purpose to want to do what I was going to do. I found my purpose. And what I was going to do next with my life. So, um, on that night. On that night when everything fell apart with what I did, I found where I was gonna go. But it's not it. But it was. It wasn't before. Like Job, right? Um, like Job, God stripped me of everything I had. You know, to really bring me to humble myself, to really understand where to go next. You know, and stuff. Um, and he had to break me. Really, he had to break me before I could really truly understand. So, but because if that didn't happen, I never would have changed. I never really would have changed. I never really would have done anything differently. I wouldn't have. I would have continued to be the same way I was. So he like put me through a transitioning phase. I think when I became saved, he took my life in a whole different direction. You know, and everything, right? From the way that the world does it to the way that he does it. From the way that I would do it, from the way I would do it to, from the way I would do it the way the world did it to the way he does it. He took my life in a different direction from the way that I would do it, the way I was used to, the way that I was used to doing it in a worldly way, to the way that he wanted me to do it. The way that he opened up that pathway for me, I believe, to do it his way. So, following the way that I thought things would work with the world, following the way I would think things would work, and running things like the way the world, to where it was flipped and God created a new path going forward. If I chose to follow what he wanted me, if I chose to follow the way that he wanted me to do stuff compared to the way the world did, if I chose to follow the way that he wanted, if I chose to follow where he was taking me compared to the way, compared to the direction of the world. So, in other words, follow his I don't know, I might upload this, I might, but to follow his plan in his path of my life. It says if you follow me, I have a plan for your life that's better than the way, better than the world's way. You know, the way that you did things, the way that you used to do things, is going to be way better if you follow me than the world. It's going to be way better if you follow the way that I want you to do it than with the world. But then that means the world will hate you because you choose to follow me. Right. You know, in a sense, right. So, most people think there's only one way in this world. There's the thing, there's only one way in this world. And that way is to do things their own way. There's actually the world's way, and then there's God's way, and everything. Which, unfortunately, you can't see another path unless God reveals it to you, or He reveals you the path where He wants you to go. And unfortunately, that can't happen unless you see another way, and until you have Christ in your life, you can't see another way. The only way you see how to do something is your own way, and usually it doesn't work out the way you think it will. It doesn't. So, but especially if you're chosen. We don't, things don't happen to us, that things don't happen to us like they do other people. If you're chosen, things do not happen. If you're a chosen person, things in this world don't happen to you like they happen to other people, and you don't, and unfortunately, stuff is different for you compared to the world. It is. And because you're chosen by God, sometimes He will redirect your path, or He will do things in your life you don't understand. But it's for a good reason, and sometimes it's to protect you or to save you from doing something bad in the future or that you'll regret. Sometimes it's to pull you out of something that's not good. God will redirect your path, telling you not to go down that, telling you not to do that, telling you not to go down that, or He will change it or do something. He will redirect you by changing something in your life, so there's something better, so He can do something better. But usually God tends to change something to make it good and better than it was before. Part of His plan. But for the chosen, sometimes we get redirected, or we get told, or we get people step in and tell us not to do something. We get advised by things in our life. We have people, we have individuals around us advising us. So, and everything. The chosen are God's special people, unfortunately, and things don't happen in our lives like they happen to other people, which means you're more of a threat to things in this world than other people are, because you're special to God, which means you have a reason that you're still here and a purpose, which also means that you're a target, because once you start living in that purpose, things start coming after you. You struggle more with stuff, you go through spiritual warfare. Things want to tempt you more because they don't like you. They hate you. When you choose to walk away from the world and follow God's purpose, in other words, if you choose to follow God when He redirects you, where He changes something, that is when you know, stuff starts to ramp up. Not only that, but when you start to do good in this world and something worth it and meaningful, that's when things will come after you. Because that's when you choose to turn away from the wicked and evil deeds of the world. So, and stuff, right? You do. But we have free will. You can choose to do whatever you want to do, but, it's like, when I look at it, it's really, I was watching the videos about The Chosen and never seen The Chosen, but I'm thinking about watching it. And I was watching the people that voiced Jesus, and I was like, he gave them a choice. He said, you can choose to follow me or not, but if you followed me, life will be better for you. I have a bigger plan for you and a purpose. Not to mention it's beyond here on this earth. A much more better place. Where you're gonna get the stuff you deserve when you leave this world than while you're here. Because God will give you your props when you get out of here. You have riches up in eternity, right? Heaven. And a mansion. You have a place up there that's made for you especially. So, why would you want to trade that for worldly riches and stuff on this earth compared to a much better place a much more eternal place, right? I certainly wouldn't. But yeah, he said if you follow me, things I have a plan for you, and and a purpose and a future to not harm you, but to give you a hope and an expected end. Right? A much bigger plan than the world has. So like I said, God has a much better, bigger plan for you in a future where you'll prosper. But so does the devil. But his is much quicker to get successful quicker. While God's plan technically takes time, it's the better plan. It's the better path than walking the path to eternal hell, right? So really it's like you have free will. You can choose to follow the ways of the world and do what you want, or you can follow God and He will, help your life, and He will give you a future and a much better path. Not only that, it said He will give you life and life in abundance. That doesn't mean that doesn't come with its fair share of struggles and issues. It does. But it says if you follow me, things are more likely to be better for you in the long run when you leave, in this world than if you don't. So like, that is, he said you won't trust. I believe God has built people in these days going with what's happening. I believe He's built them. I believe He's built His people into warriors and fighters in these last days. But it's not like but or you can be like Judas and turn your back on God and sell out for money, which a lot of people do. Unfortunately, Judas gave himself over to the devil, and that's how he got rich. But it's really sad. It is, but Judas chose to sell his integrity and sell out God for money. He sold Jesus to the Romans, to Pilate, for money. So, but yeah, I have free will. It says if you choose to live like the world and be like them, you will have a lot of tribulation. You will have a lot worse stuff than if you follow God. You will. It says you will encounter way more suffering and hardships than you will if you follow God. That doesn't mean you don't go through trials and tribulations, but they're not as hard if you follow God than if you don't follow God. If you don't have Christ, you suffer way more doing the ways of the world than you do God. Supposedly. Said God, Jesus said when He was on this earth, man, that if you follow me, right, I shall give you life and life in abundance. If you follow the world, you shall have tribulation. That doesn't mean we don't go through our battles and our hardships. To be honest, we go through some of the hardest, toughest, difficult battles than other people, especially the chosen. They're kind of like warriors if you look at it. It said, if you follow the world, you will have strife, issues, drama, tribulation. It says mainly you will have way more problems in the world than if you follow me. If you follow me, you will not have that. You will have peace, and you will have a sense of knowing that the world does not give you. And everything, right? Knowing that your things are going to be better eventually, right? You have a sense of peace and a sense of calm, right? When things get hard. In the world, it says in the world will have tribulation. Here, let me find it. Hold on a minute. I think it says, in me you will have peace. In the world you will have tribulation. Yeah. John 6:33. John 16, verse 33. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, or you will have tribulation. That's the King James Version. Let me see. This is the original version. These things are spoken unto you, that in me you have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation. But be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. So, yeah. So, if you abide in God and follow Him, you shall be at peace even when things get hard. If you follow the world, you're going to have a lot of problems and tribulation. No, we're not talking about the Great Tribulation, which is a thing to come in the future with the Antichrist, but we're talking about trouble and problems. You're going to have way more problems in the world than you will in me. That doesn't mean that you won't have your fair share of issues, but it's going to be less if you follow me than if you're following the world. So, people ask me all the time, bro, how do you keep yourself stable when things get hard and when you don't know what to do? Well, I just try to remind myself that I have a better place to look forward to when I leave this earth. I try to remind myself that I still have Christ when stuff gets hard. And I talk to God when I don't know what to do. And everything. I try to remind myself that I still have someone there giving me the ability to do what I do. Or giving me a voice. And everything, right? I still have someone there giving me the strength to go on even when I don't believe I can. Okay? So, how do you manage to get through storms and difficulties when you don't know when things get hard? Well, the reason how I get through it is I get through it with God, man. There are days I question myself there's I question myself, and sometimes and at times there are stuff that tends to mess with my head mentally, yes. And I think the devil loves to mess with me mentally. He's been doing it a lot lately. There are days that I have a problem with stuff. Stuff loves to screw with my head mentally. But I remind myself that I have God, and that way I don't deal with as many problems as other people. That way I don't have as many issues as other people because I have Christ and He keeps me at peace. Okay, even when things get hard, and everything. That's not to say that I don't struggle with my fair. That's not to say that I don't struggle with my issues. As I say, I don't have my own problems. Okay, and everything. But I don't have nearly as many issues as the world does because I don't follow them. I follow God. Or I try to follow God. I try to, do what God wants me to do. I try to live my life. I try to live my life in a good way, so that way I don't have these issues. But it can be, you don't get away from it. The devil's always out there, walking around like a roaring lion, seeing what he can do to cause issues, and he always does something to cause problems. Just when you're in a state of peace, the devil will send something in there to cause a problem. He will. It's true. It's very true. You'd be surprised, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make a video right now. I probably won't do that till later. But it's true. That's what God does, man. He keeps you stable when you don't know how to deal with things, when you don't feel like you're on solid rock. You don't know what to do. He's that rock, man. Ask God when you're desperate, and He shall save you from whatever. He can deliver you from that situation when you think that your life is over, you don't know what to do. God can give you the ability to stay on your own 2 feet. He can save you from stuff. He can. Bro, I don't deserve to be here. I should be dead. But He saved me, man. It's y'all's choice, But yeah, you're gonna have way more problems in this world if you don't follow God than if you do. Because the world's full of nothing but problems, man. As soon as people realize the world's full of nothing but problems, and people are just going to cause more problems, that's when you realize having God comes in handy, because you have a sense of peace when things get hard. You know? People are just trouble to deal with, man. That's why I like to be alone and by myself on the own thing. Don't like to be around a whole bunch of people. And people are just trouble. So the more and more individuals you hang out in this world, the more problems you have. Unless you can find godly people, which are very rare to find. You can, though. It helps. But yeah, most people in this world just the more you hang out with the world and around them, the more problems it causes. It really does. So you have a much better understanding of stuff if you follow God than you do the world. Because even though you feel alone sometimes, you like being alone because you don't have to. It gives you you like being alone because you're in a sense of peace. And when you have God, that can't disturb your peace. But when you're around a bunch of people in this world, it causes nothing but issues. It really does, you know. I learned that I'd rather be around people that I know than just random people in this world, because it's just going to cause a lot of issues. And I like being alone by myself because it gives me a sense of peace. You know, not being around a bunch of people allows me to being around a bunch of people gives me a sense of peace and stability that I need sometimes. You know, and everything, right? Sometimes we need God to renew our minds, man. So we need time alone to be at peace. You know, and everything, right? So sometimes when you're going through hardships, you need Christ to renew your mind. You need it says, I don't give you a sense of fear, but a peace, love, and a sound mind. You know, and everything. But sometimes there can be a lot of stuff going on at once that you get really stressed. And that's the devil trying to cause strife to disrupt your peace, to get you out of your state, to get you out of, to get you up, to cause problems, to keep you from being peaceful, to keep you from being at peace, to causing stress. You don't like people that are at peace and calm. He likes to make them angry or cause something to get them mad. The devil's always looking to cause strife by doing something to make you upset, doing something to make you angry, causing something to happen that knows will get you pissed off and mad. Okay, so, but yeah, this world is nothing but trouble, bro. You don't need it. You don't need it. All you really need is God. Alright, it's going to cause more issues for people if they choose to stay in this world of evilness, of evil and wickedness and corruption more than following God. When you follow God, things are better for you than when you follow the world. Yeah, you struggle more if you don't follow this world, but those struggles outweigh the benefits that you will get when you leave. Following this world ain't worth it because it's just going to cause more issues. Being around random people in this world is just going to cause more problems. Because it's going to get you into a lot of stuff that is just going to make your life a lot harder. And pathways and people and individuals you don't even know and whatever. It's going to cause a lot more problems to come into your life than when you choose to just not be around those individuals and follow God. But see, the devil will use certain individuals to entice you to agree to what he wants you to do. And he will present to you an offer. He will present to you an offer that's nice, that will be dressed up as a way to help you, but it's to get you trapped. It is. It's to get you trapped. It's to help you, to get you, it's supposedly to help you, and it's to get you to follow certain people in this world, but it's really a trap that's going to make your life a lot worse. Okay? And he uses people to do it. He uses certain people to get you to agree to something that's going to get you trapped. Okay, and everything, right? The devil loves to present an offer to the chosen that they cannot refuse. That seems really nice, seems like really, really nice and helpful, and will do something for them, but really will trap you and get you in a worse state than you want. Will get you in a more worse state than you want. The devil loves to present the chosen with an offer for the world, but it will be bad in the long term. These individuals say they want to help you, but really, they're following Satan. They're following the devil. And they're really offering you, really offering your life to get harder. They're offering you something to make your life a lot worse. They are. Or really following Satan. You know, the offer that these people give you is just to trap or make your life a lot worse. To trap you. I don't hang out with this world anymore, dude, because this world is full of nothing but people that are broken, corrupted individuals. Broken people, lost people, people that need God and something else, you know, people that will just make things harder because they'll get you into stuff that will make your life a lot worse. People that I would never associate them with my life, but this world, there's a lot of really bad people out there. And if you don't follow you don't follow the idea of what God meant by you'll have tribulation in this world, your life will be a lot worse, because if you follow the world, you'll fall into their trap. And you'll start doing what they're doing. You'll turn to drugs. You'll turn to alcohol. You'll be involved with substances. You'll find yourself doing a lot of things that will ruin your life. You'll get involved with gangs. You'll probably do a lot of bad stuff, okay? You'll end up with a group of people that you might go down a bad path with. If you don't have any direction or someone guiding your life, you won't know where to go. And that's why it's a good thing to trust Christ, because He knows what's best. He does. Even though sometimes we struggle with that. Okay, you know, and everything. Because He knows what's best. He can lead you to He can lead you in the right direction with the Spirit if you let Him. Because sometimes if you ignore that, it will lead you down a bad path. You know. The Spirit of God is there for a reason. It's to help you. And to lead you and guide you. You know, when you don't know what to do. But you'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. That a lot of people in this world are needing guidance. They're going to and fro, like it said would happen in the Daniel prophecy, in the book of Daniel. Daniel, shut up the words. What was it? Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book till the time of the end, and many shall go to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. People are going to and fro, bro. Okay, you know, when it comes to right, and that's because people are going. They're going to and fro in different directions because they lack guidance. They lack the ability, they lack which way to go. And they follow the world. And the world will just lead you down a bad path. The world will just lead you into more problems. the world would, following the stuff of the world would just lead you into a bad cycle. But following God, things will be a lot easier for you if you follow God than when you follow the world. Because then you get involved in all sorts of bad things. Without guidance. Without discipline, without maturity. You're going to be led astray like a sheep led to the slaughter in the world. Because it's a dog-eat-dog world. They will eat you alive if you try to fit in with this world. Bro. See, that's why it says there's sheep and then there's goats. Goats are the people that choose to follow the ways of the world. The sheep are the people that choose to be the sheep choose to be people that are very nice, friendly individuals, but they're also strong, right? You know, and of that nature. But the sheep are the people that look friendly and nice and stuff on the inside, but really they're warriors and strong. Because they're followers of God, right? You know, in a sense. It says, my sheep hear my voice, you know, and I know who they are. But says if you become a sheep, kind of a, you know, in a sense, a sheep looks like a very, very harmless, defenseless thing. But really, it's, you know, way more aggressive than you think. Okay? Really, a sheep looks like it wouldn't hurt anybody. But maybe a sheep is like also very humble and you don't think it really would do anything, right? A sheep kind of looks like a person. A sheep looks like an animal that, in a sense, is just minding his own business. But when people do stuff, it just depends, right? So, a sheep, right, is a very strong-willed person. Okay, in God's eyes, right? What did and what did David do? See, what was David's job originally before he did what he did? He took care of sheep. Basically, David took care of God's flock. If you really think about it, David took care of God's flock. God's people are sheep. Say, here's my voice. My sheep. You know, the people that follow me. He's the good shepherd. He's the one that herds the sheep. Leads them in the right direction, right? Well, they don't know what to do. Leads them in the direction of where to go. Okay, right? So, if you don't have that, you're going to be led astray in this world. You are. And that's why I think it said, people shall go to and fro and knowledge shall increase. because they don't know what's what, and they're confused, and they lack discernment, and so they're going all over the place trying to find answers, and you can only get those answers from God and what God said. Okay, and stuff, right? And so people are confused, so they're trying to understand what's going on with stuff by following the ways of the world, turning to supernatural stuff and the occult and spirituality beyond God and normal stuff. Tarot cards, Ouija board, divination, fortune tellers, palm readers, and stuff, right? See, most people looked at David like he was nothing. Nothing. He didn't know anything. Now, David looked like he was just this small boy who took care of sheep. He couldn't hurt a fly. Took Goliath down with one stone to the head. Literally hit the Goliath with a freaking slingshot stone right in the head. Made him fall down from getting whacked on the head with a giant stone. And everything, right? Literally made Goliath go brain dead. Hit him in the head. Went down that quickly. Hit Goliath with one stone. Boom. Down he goes. David became a king. Hey man, people don't realize, but me, you, we're supposed to be kings, man, of this earth. We're supposed to be kings, queens. The chosen, God's people. We inherit the earth. The meek inherit the earth. We inherit the earth, bro. We're meant to be kings and queens of the earth. We're meant to get our riches when we leave this earth. Well done, my good and faithful servant. Right? We're meant to be kings and queens. God gave us a platform for a reason, He gave this, He gave you whatever God gave you what He gave you. Okay? To do what you did. He puts people in places for a reason. Okay? So, if you're there, if you have that and can do that, there's not a coincidence you can't. Like, I can speak. I can talk. I can articulate to people. But then I'm told, oh, you're not really talking to people. You're talking to a camera. No, I'm talking to people. Okay, when it comes to, right, and stuff. Okay. And everything, right? But look, yeah. Says the meek inherit the earth. Kings and queens of this earth, bruh. You have gifts, you have talents, you have things you can do. That's not by no coincidence. Who gave you those talents? Who gave you those gifts? Yeah, you get a lot of your stuff from your parents, but who gave you that? God gave you that, bro. He gave me a voice, he gave me a platform, he gave me the ability to speak to people. He gave me the ability to talk. Okay, so like, you know, what else am I good? I really don't know if there's anything else that I'm that good at. But I know how to talk, I know how to speak. Even if people hate my guts sometimes when I talk. But yeah, I know how to talk to people. I know how to articulate and speak very properly and clearly. I know how to use my voice to talk to people. I definitely know how to talk, that's for sure. Even if people don't like me talking sometimes. You know? I don't know. I guess I've always either had a talent for YouTube or a talent to speak to people. You know? I know how to talk to people. I wouldn't really know what else. I don't know what quite else I'm very good at. Tell you the truth. Man, gaming, good at video games, I'm good at doing sports and stuff, but I'm good at baseball stuff, but, you know, I just don't do that anymore. And I could, you know, a lot of things. But I know there's one thing I'm really, really good at, and that is talking and speaking to people. Especially an audience, or especially certain people. I'm pretty good at getting my point across. I'm good at motivating, inspiring, giving people a reason to keep going. I'm good at trying to help people understand, you know. I could be a good motivational speaker. I could be a good speaker for people if I went places that really do believe that. I could be really good at getting up in front of people and speaking because I've been doing it for a long time. I have been talking to, you know, I don't know, but yeah, God gave me the talent to be a creator, but also speak to an audience, speak to people. God gave me the ability to talk. You know, I wouldn't know what else to do with. I wouldn't know what else to do with stuff except talk. So, yeah. You know, I guess I just like to talk. So, you know, where else is a better place to go than on YouTube to talk? I don't have very many people to talk to, man, and friends anymore. I don't have very many people to talk to and just have conversations with like I used to. I don't have very many people to do stuff with. I actually like doing YouTube. I actually like talking to people. I like talking to people on YouTube and doing stuff. I believe I'm good at it. I have a talent for it. I believe I do a lot for people, but it's a struggle for me. It's very hard for me to do what I do now more than I used to. It's very hard for me to do what I do. It's gotten harder for me to do it. Especially because stuff has been attacking my life. Oh yeah. And now it's attacking me physically. It's causing issues to my physical health to get me to stop me. Yeah. Now it's attacking my physical health. Okay. But yeah, man. People need role models. They need guidance. People are lacking that in this world. They need someone to be there for them. And I guess people look at me like that, but I'm one person, bro. You really need to turn to God, really, for guidance. You really need to turn to God. He's the one that can guide you when you don't know what to do. But I can help people, but I can't guide them and lead them into stuff. Only God can, you know. But people are lacking a sense of a figure in their life on where to go. And I think that's why they are lost and confused, and a lot of people are following the ways of the world. And like I said, I was like that once too. I was completely confused and lost. And I was following everything people were doing, including on YouTube. I was like that once. I was following other people in their ways until I had stuff in my life that changed and I found God. And now, I don't know. I feel like there are days He's using me to point people to help them, like me, when I felt lost too. I felt lost in my life, when it comes to and stuff. I was a lost puppy among a crowd of people that at one time I don't think were good for me, but I didn't know it at the time. Okay? And everything. I was like a lost puppy. I hadn't grown up yet enough. I wasn't mature enough yet. I hadn't changed enough to see until I went through what I went through. But I was like a lost puppy in a crowd of people that were like pit bulls that, if I wasn't careful, were going to eat me alive. I was around a lot of bad people. People that probably didn't like me or think or wasn't didn't really appreciate me, and I wasn't with the right group of people at the time, like I am now, I believe. But yeah, people that wanted to, in the past, do terrible things to me as a person. Someone even threatened my life. They threatened to I was in with some really I was into some stuff back then where I followed some really crazy weird people, and I was into doing and following groups on the internet that were crazy. People that were unhinged, including on social media. But I was like a lost puppy getting into a lot of different stuff in the world because I was confused. I was following whatever the world was doing because I was lost. So lost puppy getting involved with a lot of pit bulls and bad people and groups that I did not know anything about. Going after things that I had no idea, going after and chasing stuff I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And those people ate me alive. And they would come in and harass me, and they would do a lot of terrible stuff to me. One of them at one time I think threatened my life to hurt certain people and members of my family. I think at one point, one of them said he was going to shoot me, come on my property. Yeah, I got involved with some really interesting stuff back then years ago. And communities that were crazy. I was a lost puppy walking into a place full of people that were bad. And it opened me up to a lot of bad things. And people coming in and harassing me, even into streams. So, it was not good. I always believed in God, but I wasn't saved. I didn't have the protection of Christ on my life, so it really led me towards some bad stuff. And I was like, I was really into some really, really bad stuff. I was really into some really interesting people when I was on YouTube. And these people came and attacked me. They it caused a lot of issues. And I had to find my way out of it. The only way I found my way out of it was with God, but yeah, man. If you have no direction in your life, you just wander around for years, and then eventually you come back to God, but it takes a long time. And I pretty much just went through everything. I pretty much just went through all the different things in the world at the time, even with YouTube, to find my way back to find my way to being empty, and then lost and confused, and then depressed, and everything to finding God. So, yeah, I pretty much ended up following all the big stuff in the world, including all the creators on YouTube, to what they were doing. I was just, I wandered around for years what to do with my life, and I was following all these different things on YouTube. And it didn't do anything for me. It just made everything worse. And I found God, through all that. But yeah, I got into being involved with some really toxic gaming channels and creators and people who tried to ruin me, and some of them hated my guts, and some of them wanted me off of the platform. So, yeah, I got into some interesting stuff back years ago on YouTube with my other channel, and I think at one point one person tried to dox me. At one point, one person tried to I think at one point one person tried to dox my information. Somehow they got my personal information. And I was streaming I remember I was doing it'll be a show stream one day, a while back. It's been a couple of years, but I was just streaming, minding my own business, just chilling with people watching, and then someone came into my stream and doxed me. They had all my information. Luckily, nothing happened, but I did say I was going to threaten to call the cops on them if they tried to come anywhere near where I was. So, and I told them I would shoot them if they came anywhere near me. So, but, because you can't trust the internet. There's a lot of crazy people on the internet. Which is why I don't associate with, social media and people on the internet anymore. Just mainly people that are, just mainly watch people that are into, spiritual, and, like I said, I watch a lot of godly channels now. Mainly watch a lot of people that are into spiritual and, people that talk about God. Anyway, but the toxicity of the people that I was around for years was crazy. I had a lot of problems, and I can see now why it said you'll have tribulation in this world. Because, yes, you'll have a lot of problems with people in this world if you get involved in a lot of things. So, and I was young and dumb and stupid and immature for my age during those years. But, like I said, I was a lost puppy, so I didn't really know what I was doing. And, with YouTube, you'll find out real quick who you're involved with if you get involved with these people. You do. And, then you find yourself getting into a lot of trouble and a lot of issues. And yes, I had a lot of problems with some people in the past. But, anyway, you change. But, I was really into gaming and doing content on stuff for years. And so I got involved in a lot of communities and people, and some of them didn't like me. And they said a lot of pretty bad, nasty things against me as a person. They even threatened to ruin me on YouTube. And even somehow got their hands on, like I said, my personal information, which I don't know how they got it, and doxed me. And but that's in the past. But yeah, you're gonna have a lot of problems with the world, man, if you choose to follow them. You choose to get involved in stuff like that. But and I was also kind of a person that, like I said, was a lot like other creators back then. And I did kind of turn kind of toxic, and I was doing a lot of things that got me into a lot of interesting places. I was going after other creators, and yeah, it doesn't go well when you do that. That can get you involved in a lot of bad things. It can. But yeah, man, following the world just ain't worth it. It's just gonna cause a lot of problems for you in the long run. A lot of conflict, and it's not worth it. Take my advice. I've been through it. It's not something you want to do, because it's going to cause a lot of issues for you, especially as a person who did a YouTube channel for 3 years. If you manage to escape that, place you put yourself in your life, and you come to God, you realize then how peaceful it is later, and you don't go back to it. You move on to something else. Okay? You move on to something else. You don't go back to those same things. Because once you're saved, you don't want to go back to the world and their problem. Once you're saved, you don't want to go back to all the conflict and drama that's in the world. You don't. You just want to. You want to be. You want to follow You want to follow the stuff of what's going on with the world of God. You want to follow the people that God's leading you to. You want to stay in the peaceful. You want to stay in the peacefulness and the tranquility of the community, the godly community of people that you're watching. Something about them brings a good vibe, right? Mostly. I mean, I'm not saying that, it does get, you can get overloaded after a while from watching that, but yeah, something about the people, watching those people does give you a sense of peace. Like, you don't, you just feel something. I don't know. But yeah, once you get out of that toxicness, that narcissistic stuff, those narcissistic people, that toxic stuff and that drama that's on YouTube, you go to and you get involved with people that are much better people, it brings you a sense of peace and calmness. You can tell the difference between being around godly people and people that are just toxic and negative and hateful. Okay, you can. You get the vibe. I don't know, it's hard to explain. You begin to understand the difference between those people and the world. And it's like, you want more and more of that. You want more and more and more of that. You want that. You want that community, in that perspective. You want that godly perspective. You want that sense of peace and just calmness. You want that sense of tranquility. You want to be more and more around that stuff and those people, because it just brings you a sense of just something. It brings you a sense of something good coming soon. It gives you a positive thing to look forward to in your life going forward. you want more of that feeling of what's coming in your life, right? You know, the way that they talk about the stuff they do just makes you feel peace. Peace is coming very soon. We're not going to have peace in this world, but we'll have peace eventually very soon. Right? Yeah, man. You can tell the difference between godly people and people that are worldly. I don't know. But once you get out of that, feeling of just unease and all that stuff, man, you just feel a sense of calm. Like you were on edge before and nervous. Now you're not on edge. It's like God just gives you a sense of just calmness and peace. And as long as you're in His will, following Him, there's nothing that can cause anything to come after you, and if it does, they're going to have to answer to God, right? They're going to have to come to God to do something to you. So, as long as you're following in the pathway of God, you always have peace. You choose to turn away and follow the world, yeah. It won't go well. It says those who keep unforgiveness, don't repent, don't change, continue to live in worldly ways. It says you'll be turned over to the tormentors. Or you'll be like Saul, where Saul was like one of God's special people, and then he took the thing away from him, and as soon as that happened, Saul was like given a tormenting spirit that did stuff to him day and night. God took away, the Spirit of God left Saul, and what came upon Saul was a tormenting spirit. Because God was angry at Saul because he threw spears at David, which was also someone God was using, that went to go hide in the cave and then save those people in the cave. That David had to play the harp to calm Saul down because he would throw spears at him. So, but yeah, Saul was tormented because he chose to not listen to God and follow the world, and with that he was given over to the tormentors. The Spirit of God left Saul, And then the tormenting spirit came over him. He was given over to the tormentors. And everything. This is before he became Paul and started preaching to people. But, the tormentors, right? So, if you look at it, the reason why God gave Saul a tormenting spirit is because he threw spears at David. God was using David for a purpose. He didn't like what Saul was doing to him. So he gave Saul a tormenting spirit. So then he would come back to God and change. And then he became Paul. So, in a sense. Because it says, whenever someone accepts Christ, they become a new person. They become a different individual. He got converted into Paul. But I don't know. King Saul tormented David, so God tormented Saul. God tormented Saul. Saul made David scared for his life because he was going to die because he threw spears at him, so he ran and hid in the cave. And so God made Saul pay for trying to hurt David and tormenting Saul for trying to attack David. Before he became King David, of course. He was just David the shepherd boy. He was a young boy that then grew into a man and became a king. But, yeah. I don't know, it says that when you become a saved believer, born again believer, you can be turned over to the tormentors if you do not forgive or follow God, or continue to follow God. What do you mean? If you choose to turn away from God and follow the ways of the world, your life's going to get harder than if you stay in the ways of following God, right? That doesn't mean you're not going to make a mistake or mess up, because it says we all fall short of the glory of God, right? But it's going to get harder for you if you choose to follow the world as a believer, as a saved believer, because that's going to get you turned over to the tormentors. Because then you're going to not be following in the ways of God, which only God can do things to you. Only God can allow things to happen. Only God can allow things to do stuff to you. There's only a couple of occurrences that can happen that when a demon or a spirit can touch a real believer. That's Job, when the devil made a deal with God and God told him, you can do whatever you want to him, don't kill him. They agreed to make a deal with a demon or a demonic spirit or do something. Or 3, they do something to where it says they're turned over to the tormentors. When it comes to right. And God lets a spirit of God brings a spirit of torment on the person. In other words, the spirit leaves that person. So, and it happened to Saul, so yeah, it's just, but yeah, I don't think God was happy with Saul, him throwing spears at David, so, but I don't know. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot more trouble in the world than it's worth it, man. Then if you follow God, I mean, life is already hard enough to deal with as it is. But if you choose to dabble in the ways of the world, you're going to have more problems. You are. You're going to have even more problems. Following the ways of the world and people in this world just ain't worth it. Following the world's ways ain't worth it, dude. It's not. It's just going to cause a lot more issues for you. It's really not all it's cracked up to be, man. I mean, it looks good on the surface, but really, it causes a lot of issues for you in the end. And it can get you in a lot of problems. It does. Money and all that stuff, it looks good, but really, what does it do for you in the end, really? Including when you die. What does it do for you? It won't go with you to your grave. And then again, a lot of stuff in the world ain't gonna last. So, I don't know, man. But it's only temporary. But, I mean, do you want to trade temporary things for eternal things? I mean, you want to trade eternal things for temporary things? I'd rather not. But, it's just something like that, right? When you look at it, I don't know. Probably going to go to therapy on Thursday and try to get this thing worked out. But, I wouldn't. I mean, I really wouldn't. I mean, all the riches of the world and living like that, I don't know, man. Those people don't seem to me like they're very happy. They seem to be very toxic, negative people. The ones that are very, very successful, have a lot of money, and are involved in these big companies and groups and things. that are involved with these top corporations, they don't seem like they're happy to me. They also don't seem to me like they seem miserable. And they're very negative people. Then it seemed to me that because they're so successful and popular and big now, and because they have a lot of people watching them, seems to me like it puts a lot of stress and pressure on them. It seems to me like they hate now what they are. Or they're just miserable. And the only way to fill that hole in themselves is to ask for donations or money. Or to have people give them money to buy stuff. In other words, the only way to fill that hole is for them to get their audience to give them donations. Right? Kind of interesting. I mean, people got to make a living somehow, but kind of interesting how that's the case. Seem like pretty miserable, negative people to me. They do. But I don't know. But I can tell that to a degree, yep, they seem like that to me for sure. They chose to trade themselves for worldly they chose to trade themselves for worldly pleasures instead of something else. It's like these people don't really know who God is, or they don't know God. So the only answer to solving their problem to deal with things is to basically is to only follow the ways of the world, or to trade themselves for worldly pleasures, like money and stuff. And that's how they became big, right? But I noticed some of the biggest YouTubers are not happy people at all. Some of the biggest creators and the biggest content creators and channels now that made it big, or have become big, are now part of big corporations or companies. I noticed that the YouTubers now that have made it big and are now a part of these big endorsement company deals, they're not happy people. They're very negative, toxic, unhappy people. They are. They're very unhappy. They're very negative. And, empty people. And I notice that more and more now that I've accepted Christ into my life, that I've accepted Christ into my life, and now I can see what I didn't see before. And I noticed that a lot of them are very empty, negative, toxic people, unhappy people. Especially certain channels, especially the channels that hit it big and are now pretty popular on YouTube. Yeah. The ones that started out small and then got on with these big corporation endorsement deals and these big companies that they're a part of now, they're not happy. They're very miserable, toxic, negative people. They are not happy people at all. I've noticed that those people are very unhappy, negative, miserable people. Now that they're a big part of these big companies, they're very negative, unhappy people. I couldn't see that before in the past because I didn't have the Spirit of God in me. I wasn't saved. I didn't become born again yet. I didn't recite the prayer to accept God, to confess Christ into my life. Until I did that, that's when I started to see the world, that there's a lot of very miserable, empty, negative people in this world, on the internet, on YouTube, big creators who have everything, including money, but they're unhappy. And some of the big ones are the most unhappy people on the earth. Streamers, creators, who are very negative and toxic, and basically went either crazy, couldn't deal with their lives, so they turned to alcohol and substance abuse. Had a hard time dealing with the stuff that they were having to face as a streamer. So they, had a lot of pressure, and it was a lot of pressure on them, and they got very toxic and angry and negative. Some of them even screamed or yelled or shouted, especially with games. And a lot of them were very stressed because they would spend countless hours streaming to an audience where they were dealing with constant comments on the internet, saying stuff. They had to deal with the constant chat, always bugging them. They had to deal with a constant audience or a chat. Doing stuff to them while they were trying to either play a game or concentrate. They had to deal with the constant chat over there, doing stuff. And I'm like, I don't know why I don't even know why I really like live streaming. I don't even know why, I don't even know why, I had a thing for live streaming at one point, but I don't anymore. Right? It changes your way of thinking when you come to Christ. You turn away from the world. You come to Christ. You accept God, and then you're filled by the Spirit, and then you start to see things differently. You start to see how miserable and unhappy people are. That is just chasing the world. You know, right? The worldly pleasures. Especially on YouTube. And a lot of them are just trying to get money because that's the way that they can like make themselves happy and feel that stuff in their life. And it's sad. I see more people on YouTube nowadays constantly asking for donation money than I've ever seen in recent years. Like they're constantly asking for donations. It's like more people ask people for money on YouTube. Well, more people ask people for money on YouTube and Twitch or other places than I've seen in recent memory. It's like, I don't know, man. They're unhappy. They're miserable. They're empty. And some of them have lost stuff in their life to where they're lonely. Some of them are just lonely. Now, there are creators out there that actually have had a decent life, yes. And they have met someone, they have found somebody, but that's very rare and few and far between. And some of them manage to meet certain individuals on the internet, but I just noticed something about people now after I got converted. A lot of them are walking around lost, not knowing what's going on, confused, and searching for something in the world, trying to find something. And they don't know what to do. And a lot of them are beginning to ask what's going on with the world and what's happening and it's falling apart and what's all this weird stuff happening outside. People are beginning to question what's going on with the world. You know? Even unbelievers, man. And it's just crazy. It's like, you know, people are walking around trying to find answers and figure out what's happening. They're trying to find something and understand. But that's why you have the saved and the people of God to do that in these times. The watchmen of certain people. You do. Right? Without us, people would be confused. They wouldn't know what's going on. They'd be lost, bro. It's very hard to explain that, but it's true. You know? They'd be lost and confused. True. Very true. I mean, without us around, they wouldn't know. I mean, when we leave, everything's gonna change, man. We are. I mean, it is. And without those people, man, without us, I mean, people would be completely lost and in the dark. They want to know, man. That's why they watch us, they come to us, they try to want to know. They're searching for that too. They want what you have, man. And they want to be like that. And how do you have all that? How do you have that in you? And they want to know how to how that happens. They want to get that thing you have. Because they don't really understand how we have it, or how we have the ability, people want to understand. They've never really had a real encounter with God, right? At least not a spiritual one. They believe in God, but they never really had an actual real thing with God, or they never met God, or they never really had a relationship where they actually believed that they found God. And then was filled with the Spirit, right? And then, oh, okay. Anybody can get it, man. It's not that hard. All you gotta do is believe in the gospel. You do. Okay. Believe in the gospel. It says that Christ was put on the cross. He was buried and he resurrected on the third day according to the scriptures. Believe in your heart and confess, and you shall be saved. Believe unto the Son of God, man. John 3:16. People don't actually realize this, but I've actually always liked John 3:16. I have. Even when I wasn't a person that was saved or believed he was saved. I don't know anymore sometimes. I think I am, but I do struggle with my assurance of salvation. And a lot of us do. But I think I am. But yeah, John 3:16 says here, God so loved the world he gave his only begotten Son, so whoever shall believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And everything. It's not that hard. It really isn't. Now, following God is hard, yes. Getting saved is not that hard. Because you still struggle against your old self. But it's like not that hard, and everything. But yeah, man, dude, people are miserable in this world, man. I've noticed that. And they take it out a lot on me and blame me for everything. Even when I tried not to. Even when I try not to cause issues, it's like something always happens. So, I don't know. But I can tell you that, yeah, man. Believe in Christ, man. That's all you gotta do. It also says, me and my Father are one. Um, if you believe in God, you shall also believe in me. So, and everything, right? So, uh, you know, but it happens, man. There was an old Skillet song that I liked back a long time ago. It's from Alien Youth. John Cooper, when he was very young, he wrote a song called Looking for Angels. And it talks about how people were searching for stuff, right? And people were struggling, and he said that people were trying to find a way to stay on, way to stand, a way to be able to stay on their own 2 feet, and it was a struggle, right? Well, it's kind of like a search for God or something, right? And it was a really good song, but I find that song to be very relatable today. And then there was also the Resistance, man, so, but, oh, I'm tired. Alright, man. I may or may not upload this video later. I don't know. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm tired. We'll talk about, we'll go over the other stuff later. I just needed to vent, man. But yeah, man. People, people are confused, man, with what's happening with the world. And it's not that hard to know what's going on with the world. You just have to read it. You just have to read. Uh, you have to read the Bible, man, to know what's happening. So, it's. I don't know, man. I give up. I'm going to bed.